This is Jerod Lakefield, a novel by Don Fensler, Part 40. Jerod of the World. The rest of the game was Jerod's. He controlled like he had so many games before, but tonight was different. So much different. Jerod Lakefield knew this was the big stage, that more people were watching him tonight than had ever watched him before in all the games put together, and he was fucking astonishing, even by his own breathtaking, lofty standards. Every time Brian Cole got the ball, Jerod was all over him, and at first Cole tried to make something happen, trying to dribble around Jerod or make a snap pass to someone underneath, but every time he tried, the ball was knocked away or it bounced off his own fucking foot. It went nowhere. By the middle of the third quarter, Cole was a non-factor offensively, and his own players had almost ceased passing the ball to him. With Jerod Lakefield on him, Cole Bryan had turned into a fucking amoeba in a fucking petri dish. It was a changing of the guard like the NBA had never seen before, and it happened on this one night, November 17th. It all happened in a few minutes span, and to the millions who watched, all who were certainly fucking mesmerized, they knew it. They knew it in their hearts, minds, souls, and fucking left toes. It was no fluke, and this was real, what they were seeing. On offense, Jerod called for the ball. After Jerod had hit 3 35-footers in a row, the Leopards started to cover him with 2 and sometimes 3 men, so Jerod dribbled around them or threw them and shot from 20 feet or 25 feet or 10 feet. Somehow he was able to fucking put the ball up at will. The defenders were an irrelevance. Jerod Lakefield was just too fast. He was the fucking speed of light itself. Even when double teamed, he was head faking them to the left and right, then passing it off, only to get the ball back with a split second opening, and would make his lean to the right, would snap his wrist, and the ball was up and through the rim, and there was a sound like the rim screaming for fucking goddamn joy. I kid you not. The score was 81-61 after 3 quarters, the Clappers in the lead. The Leopards made a brief rally in the fourth quarter, pulling within 10, but then Jerod Lakefield went into a 4.5-minute frenzy, hitting 3 threes and 2 free throws, and the Leopards were done for. I have never seen a man look so small as Cole Bryan was by the fourth quarter. So lost, so pathetic. He has played against LeBron Jones, Tim Dawkins, and Dark Nowitzki, all the best, and Cole Bryan was maybe better than all of them. But this was different. He was against a man, a superman, a presence, a dynamic, unbelievable power force over which he had no comprehension or control. The incredible thing is that Cole Bryan didn't know whether he was in the deepest despair or in the highest state of exhilaration. This was far beyond basketball or sports. I knew his feeling. I knew it all too well. Final stats. Jerod Lakefield was a fucking eye-popping, britches-wetting 19 for 25, including 3s from the field, 12 for 12 from the free throw line, a total of 56 points, and it held Cole Bryan to 4 for 17 from the field and a total of 11 points. And the crowd gradually became strangely quiet, not sure what they had just seen. But when the Leopard coach benched Cole Bryan with 4 minutes to go, the game totally out of reach, everyone was relieved. It was painful to see such a man who himself had inspired awe himself in so many games, so fucking humiliated. It was painful to see the great Cole Bryan, even though he was a fucking jerk, in this state. The game against the Leopards and Cole Bryan was a Beatle on the Ed Sullivan Show type moment. Everyone who watched knew exactly where they were and when this evening and for the rest of their lives. Millions of Leopard fans were tuned in, and the others who had heard about the Clappers' first 5 games and some scrawny white guys from some little school from Minnesota that couldn't miss. They heard about this scrawny white guy from some little school from Minnesota that just couldn't fucking miss on long shots from the outside. And millions of others who tuned in because they were bored with dancing with the stars and Star Trek reruns. They had all, without warning or expectations, joined in the Jerod Lakefield moment of November 17th, whether by design or by sheer fucking luck. How little did I understand at this moment how little this game would mean in the future. After the game, when all the hoopla had died, all the reporters and fans and fellow clappers had left, I found Jerod outside of the parking lot getting into his car. I felt kind of shy around him this evening, especially. Jerod Lakefield was just so fucking big before this game, and now, after what I saw, he seemed even bigger, more superhuman, even more godlike. It was strange. I could talk, but it felt like everything I was saying was fucking stupid, even stupider than usual. I tried to tell him how great he played. I tried to make small talk about the weather. I tried to be witty and African-American, David Letterman, Stephen Colbert, but nothing worked. I was in the presence of sheer greatness, something beyond anyone or anything I had ever seen in my life. Just his basketball skills, otherworldly in themselves, were enough to fucking leave one tongue-tied and feel inadequate. But there was something more, of course. There was his aura, which he always had, and now it was like a billion neon fucking lights exploding in your face, in your bowels, and in your soul. Something had changed tonight. Before it was something you saw, but now it was something you felt to the core of your being. Before, Jerod Lakefield filled up the room. Today, somehow he filled up all the spaces in heaven and on earth. What is happening? Something is happening, something big. To all my stupid words of praise and small talk, Jerod Lakefield said, "I need to get away from here, Miss Shawn." He looked up at Jennifer. "I need to get away from here." The three of us got in my car. I have no fucking idea whether Jerod had a car at the Staples Center or not, and we didn't say hardly a word on the way home. The mood in the car was heavy and solemn, but still bigger than life. Jerod Lakefield seemed so sad, so very sad, the way only Jerod Lakefield can make you feel sad too. Then a funny thing happened. We pulled up to Jerod's house. He suddenly said, "Miss Shawn, I need you to take me to Timothy Mannion's house. I'm sorry to spring on this on you at the last minute." Timothy Mannion was the guy in the wheelchair who now walked, of course. "Sure, Jerod," I said. "Thank you, Miss Shawn, and thank you, Jennifer," Jerod Lakefield said softly and gave me directions to Timothy's house. After we dropped him off at Timothy's place, Jennifer asked me. She was crying again. "What the hell is going on, Miss Shawn?" I said, "I have no idea, Jennifer," I said, also choking up a little bit. "We just saw the greatest moment in sports history, and yet it all feels so fucking tragic. Totally fucking tragic." The end of part 40.